I'll be honest, they don't want you to hear this, but basically, Thunderbolts slash the new Avengers is an absolute nightmare for Marvel. Okay, now the Thunderbolts slash the new Avengers mess just got destroyed at box office and stuff, performing even worse than the Eternals and even Captain America: Brave New World. And Disney is scrambling to hide the truth. You see, the Thunderbolts slash the new Avengers rebrand isn't fooling anyone. You see, it's actually a desperate move just to go ahead and cover up yet another massive failure. So the Thunderbolts slash New Avengers meltdown is even bigger than they want you all to believe. Okay, so we're gonna definitely get right into this. And you see, I'm gonna be honest, the mainstream media outlets like Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, you name it, they're simply spinning Thunderbolts slash the New Avengers like their careers are actually depending on it. You see, they're trying to convince you that the Thunderbolts, or as they now awkwardly call it, the new Avengers is some sort of moderate success, but in reality, it's not. This thing barely scrapped together $74 million on opening weekend. And that particular number for Thunderbolts slash the new Avengers is already being revised downward, okay? First they said $76 million. Now it's $74 million. And don't be surprised if it sinks even lower once the real audits come in. You see, they're trying to go ahead and paint this thing as some kind of victory, but in reality, this is just an absolute meltdown, okay? And if you were to actually look at the numbers as you were to see, how it's doing in the box office and everything, you'll see that compared to Captain America Brave New World up here from the numbers.com is doing much worse right now. Captain America, like on this first Wednesday, the first week opening, made up to like over $100 million, whereas right now it's sitting Thunderbolts, which is also known as the new Avengers, is sitting at a measly $91 million. I mean, if you were to also look at the domestic numbers and stuff, you'll see that the domestic numbers are higher than the worldwide amount. Okay, and that's pretty interesting right there because they actually had us to think. Usually it's that the international market makes more money than domestic, and that part right there is actually mind-blowing and stuff. If you don't believe me, you can take a look at it again yourself. Right here, total box office is at over $177 million. And if you were to also compare these and stuff, like I said, domestic box office $91 million compared to the international box office at 86 million. Okay, let me make sure that is. Yes, it says over 86 million. Now, you can like it's possible where some of the theaters internationally may not have this movie opening in the markets and everything, but at the same time, this whole thing is concerning. But back to the box office, well, not box office, back to the numbers and stuff. I mean, $74 million, if you ask me, is nothing for a Marvel movie with this much budget, hype, and branding behind it. Now, y'all remember when Deadpool and Wolverine pulled in over $200 million? Captain America: Brave New World, despite all the backlash, still open to $100 million, as I just shown you all. And here comes Thunderbolts, or as Disney marketing the geniuses now call it, the new Avengers, barely crawling past $70 million. I mean, you got to just go ahead and basically laugh at the desperation here. At this point, it's sad, and this thing gets destroyed not just by the heavy hitters, but even by second tier Marvel flops like Shang-Chi. Okay. But when you actually go ahead and adjust for inflation and stuff and the massive rise in ticket prices, I mean, that's where, it gets interesting. This isn't just a loss, it's just a historic collapse. Now, back in 2021, the Eternals brought in $71 million when ticket prices were around, $95.957. Fast forward to today, these tickets average nearly $13, and even higher when you factor in premium screenings like IMAX and Dolby. So, what exactly does that mean? It means the Eternals had way more actual people in those seats. Thunderbolts slash the new Avengers didn't just lose at the box office, they lost in real audience turnout. Fewer people showed up, period. And here's where the nightmare actually gets worse. You see, Disney knows this, and that's why they're pulling out every trick in the book. You see, they're rebranding Thunderbolts as the new Avengers and stuff. You see, they're actually trying to trick normies and casual fans into actually thinking that this is the next big Avengers event. Okay, as a matter of fact, they don't even have Thunderbolt Ross in this movie, and they actually kept it far away from the comics as possible. In the movie, they said, and this one right here really pissed me off. They said that basically the origin of the term Thunderbolts for the team is based on a winless little league soccer team. Yeah, but let's be honest. I mean, everyone sees right through this. It's basically, as someone pointed out in the previous video, it's basically Birds of Prey all over again. Now, y'all remember when Warner Brothers tried to save that big disaster by renaming it Harley Quinn Birds of Prey? I mean, that didn't work. It actually exploded right in their faces. You see, and that's basically the same story here. Basically, slapping the new Avengers on Thunderbolts doesn't fix this insufferable mess that they've created. All right, and we've seen this time and time again. And let me make this clear: this is not even the Thunderbolts from the comics, as I've said. Comic book fans know it. Casual audiences don't care. And this is just basically a weird stitched together mess of leftover characters, basically, that no one asked for. I mean, Bucky Barnes, I wanted him to be a leader, but he's just a sidekick, not a leading man. Florence Pugh's Elena, no one outside of Twitter stands cares. And Sentry, the villain that they hyped up, barely marketed. They had no idea how to sell this thing. They leaned on New Avengers rebrand like it was a life raft, basically. But guess what? That ship is still sinking. As a matter of fact, it's actually worse than the Eternals when you actually really break it down. You see, at least with the Eternals, they had a moment of hype before audiences realized that it was boring, preachy, and insufferable. Okay, now Thunderbolts slash the New Avengers didn't even have that. You see, there was no buzz, no excitement, no cultural impact. This thing landed with a thud, basically, a massive, embarrassing thud. Okay, and the reviews themselves, I mean, they'll point to that fake 88% Rotten Tomato score, but the real people, they're actually calling exactly what it is: a forgettable, sleep inducing nightmare. Okay. And that's quite embarrassing right there for anyone to say anything about that like that. But think about it. Black Widow, that was released on streaming and at the same time in theaters during the pandemic. Even that movie outperformed this one. Black Widow is basically a movie that no one really wanted that late and stuff in the game, starring a character who was already dead in the timeline, made more money and had more viewers than Thunderbolts slash the New Avengers. Now, if that's not a meltdown right there, I don't know what is. And Marvel had the nerve to actually stuff this thing with more recognizable characters and still get destroyed by streaming release from years ago. I mean, simply put, you can't really make this up. And it's sad at this point. And basically, Marvel is just in full blown panic mode. And this isn't just another box office flop. It's a franchise killing disaster, basically. And they know it. And that's why they're playing this ridiculous name change game. You see, they're hoping people will walk up to the box office next and just say, hey, let's go see the new Avengers. But here's the thing. There's an actual Avengers movie coming out next year. Now, how exactly is that going to work? Are they going to go ahead and start call that one of the newer Avengers? I mean, it's a joke, a sad, desperate joke, but everyone knows it basically. Okay, and the whole confusion doesn't also stop there. Even Fandango's confused, or so we think they are. They've already updated their listings to call it the New Avengers. Now, try searching for Thunderbolts, you won't find it. This is basically a marketing disaster on top of a financial disaster. Now, honestly, the audience doesn't know what this thing is, and quite frankly, they don't care because the product itself is so insufferable that no amount of name changes, rebrands, or phony review scores can save it. Now, the damage is already done at this point, and here's the thing, they're not stopping. But you better believe that they're going to keep pushing these, the new Avengers projects and stuff, okay? But you also have what's like you got things like Young Avengers, Cosmic Avengers, Fantastic Avengers. They're gonna try it. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, yeah, those are jokes and stuff. But here's the truth: no one's buying it anymore. The audience is simply gone. The trust is gone. The hype is gone. Marvel's golden era actually exploded, and all they're left with is this embarrassing mess that they're trying to go ahead and repackage as something exciting. Only the problem is that it's not exciting at all. It's actually dead on arrival. And quite frankly, Marvel and Disney have set themselves up for a long, painful collapse. Thunderbolts slash the new Avengers was supposed to be the start of a new phase and stuff, but instead, it's the beginning of the end. And you just simply cannot build a franchise on flops. You can't build hype when nobody shows up, and you definitely can't save a disaster by renaming it after it already gets destroyed. Okay. Now, the writing is simply on the wall. The audience is checked out basically at this point, or if not long ago. And then there's also the budget. Disney claims that this thing only cost $180 million. But if you add in marketing, reshoots, and those overpriced Disney executive lunches, well, you're looking at $250 million or more. And with this pathetic opening, I mean, they're staring down the barrel of a $200 million loss. Two in a row, back to back flops. This is what happens when you simply ignore the fans, double down on any kind of failure, and try to gaslight the world into actually believing that mediocrity is success. They wanted you to be excited for a century. They wanted you to care about Yelena and Bucky, and they wanted you to think that this was the next big team up. But the truth is, audiences are definitely done, and they're not being fooled again. You see, they're not showing up, and if Thunderbolts slash the New Avengers can't even beat the Eternals, if Bucky Barnes and Florence Pugh can't draw a crowd and stuff, I mean, I'll be honest, you might as well just call it what it is at this point. A franchise that gets destroyed before it even begins. Okay. So, I mean, what's next? More flops, more rebrands, more desperate marketing and stuff. I mean, probably because Disney and Marvel seem to have learned nothing at this point. You see, they're still doubling down on failure. They're betting the house on franchises that nobody asked for. And quite frankly, they're ignoring the one thing that actually mattered, the audience. Okay. Now, Thunderbolts slash the New Avengers is a case study in how to ruin a franchise at this point, and Marvel seems to just keep giving us front row seats to the collapse. Okay. But honestly, Marvel is actually burning down its own house while pretending the fire is under control. But the numbers don't lie. You see, the fans aren't showing up, the excitement is gone, and every attempt to cover up this failure only makes it worse. Okay. Now, Thunderbolts slash the new Avengers at this point, I mean, it just simply exploded in the most embarrassing way possible. All right. And honestly, no name change is going to fix that. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button in this video if you enjoyed what was shared. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for future notifications, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.